seemed to have been one person who is our host here today, His Excellency, the Governor of Lagos State. I'm very happy to see you, sir, in spite of the past, because you have been so good to us, especially the women. And finally, let me talk about, briefly, Labour Party. No, not the party, really, the person, our governor from Edo State. We used to be buddies, Vision 2010, and we wanted so many good things for the country. One of the reasons I heard why a number of our recommendations were thrown out of the window was that they were done under the regime of His Excellency, the head of state, General Abacha, which brings us to one thing. What happens when there is, you think, not so good leadership, and very many things are done during that leadership, during the times of that leadership? Do you throw them out? Sometimes it may be good for us to consider such questions. But one good thing came out of that. We're all using our earphones today. Forgive me for rambling out, but our subject for discussion cannot be taken away from what we have just all been listening to, and that is corruption. We're all talking very glibly about corruption, maybe corruption for adults. But do you know it is permeating our society in such a devilish way and going down to our children? They want to pass exams, but they don't want to work. And what is worse, their parents help them to pass exams by building corruption corruptive steps in our institutions. That's something I want us to talk about before the end of the day. So I hope you will mention that as well. But take the subject as we see it. What can we do to increase access into education and improve the quality of education? Even without thinking, for Nigeria, one thing we must do to increase access to education is everybody here to make up their minds they are going to educate the girls. That would increase the access by at least 30% more than we have today. That's a mindset. And that's one thing we'll have to talk about before we finish our term here. If we do not educate our girls, we cannot do much in this country, because the mindset for improving the quality of our governorship, the quality of governing this country, is to have a good, long argument in terms of how we build up our families. We build up our families, forgive me if I'm wrong, but I think I'm right, when we have good units. We build up our children when we have good units of families within our communities. We build up our communities if we have good units of persons, male and female, who can really discuss the problems of that community and discuss them and reach solutions which mean development. Then the next thing I'd just like to mention in passing is talking about quality in education. We all agree that a main factor in developing quality in education is the quality of our teachers. We must ensure that the quality of our teachers is improved. How do we improve the quality of our teachers? Simple, by making sure that they know more. I cannot have people teaching if the majority of them watch stupid movies for 40% of the time when they should be doing their work as teachers, and not only do they watch movies which do not improve their knowledge, but they also do not understand that knowledge is growing. Knowledge is growing. Knowledge is increasing. Look at what we have been doing here today. If we had a better group of people taking care of our power system in this room, we would have been further ahead than we are today. And yet, we think of teachers only in terms of when they go on strike and they want more pay. That's not the important thing. Whom are you grooming into the teaching field? They are not educated. They are not interested in learning. They are just there to waste a few hours every morning and send the teachers away and bring the notes that they have been reading about years and years and years. A teacher leaves a teacher training college with practically one frame of mind. You will teach what you have been taught at that teacher's training college for the next 15, 20 years until maybe you get another opportunity to get richer. So what I'm trying to say here, therefore, ladies and gentlemen, is that we must improve and interest our teachers in improving their knowledge as well as in improving their manner of teaching. These two go together. The mathematics I learned, actually it was arithmetic, I learned when I was being taught how to multiply 1 shilling, 3 pence, and 3/4 of a penny by 12 and a half dozen. Is not the same as I'm learning now in some respects, but in some other respects it is almost the same, because at that time I went through just trying to make sure that I could multiply and learn my multiplication times table. But now we know that the best way to teach that same child this same thing without possibly talking about it too much is to ensure that that person understands those rules and regulations which govern the source of rules like teaching. Because if you don't understand that, you cannot teach, you cannot learn. These are two strands I would go on, but I think we can do a little bit more when we come to the end if we mention that teaching also means building the mindsets of our children. If our children grow up with poor mindsets, with difficult mindsets, there's no way you can teach them, because the world is changing, that they are going to improve. They would be ready to raise up a rabble at any time, but they will not go in any direction, except perhaps we have persons like, I think one of the leaders, one of the speakers in the first period we had here this morning, who talked about how we could get people to re-examine situations and bring the best out of them, because the economic situation was changing. And we have to understand this if we are not to be too envious and end up stealing. I hope I haven't bothered you too much, but I thought we had enough time, since there is only one presenter today, and education is such a wide subject, and ask you, please, now to have me introduce Professor Aremu of the University of Ibadan, who would take us through his lecture on improving access and quality education at the sub-national level. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Grace Alele Williams. It's a pleasure on my part to be here this afternoon and to see your good posture as the chair of this session. Your Excellencies, I stand on existing protocols. I received last week a phone call that I have to be at the third Governors Forum to present a paper on improving access and quality education at the sub-national level. I asked myself, why me? Number two, Why is it that